I'm going to explain you about jet engine front-end submissions from crocoblock, and I'm going to show you what you can do with it and what the terms are. Now this is the first video, and this one is going to be the easy one. Later on we're going to discuss more about uh, webhooks and connecting one website with the other website, that kind of things. But let's start off with the simple tutorials and the basics. So once you have uploaded or installed the plugin from Jet Engine, then you see here uh, Jet Engine, and you have to click on the emblem, and then you have to toggle on what you need on the website. Now, in this case, we only going to use forms, listing grid injections we don't need. We need the profile builder and the dynamic visibility for widgets and sections and the custom content types. Once we have toggled there on, we have to save it. As you can see here, it's saved. And then you can see here that they have been added in the Jet Engine tool. All right, now what does this tool do for you? It makes post types, meta, and customized meta. And if you can see here, there are meta boxes, post types, and custom content types. Now, the post types and the custom content types are basically the same. The only difference is that the custom content types stores every listing into separate data tables. And that makes it easier when you have a lot of content to help search tools when people want to search a specific content or a specific post, then it's easier for the database to collect the data. But let, let's us first discuss what meta are. If you can see here, this is the meta boxes. It basically means that when we are using this tool, then we can adding boxes into the default WordPress environment. So if you look at the posts, I'm going to delete this one, and if you can see here, when we're adding a new post, you have a title, you have the contents or the description, and you can use, for example, a feature image, and thumbnail, and that is it basically. More than that, you can't do more than that. But what if you want to have more boxes and editable, for example, video or yeah, you name it, another picture or something like that, then you have to use a tool like Jet Engine. So first we are going to adding meta boxes. And if we using the meta box and we click on add new, then we kind of name it. In this case is a photo, and it must be post. As you can see, you can also choose for taxonomy or user. And if you can see here in the corner, then you see taxonomy. Let me show you. Here are the taxonomies, but we don't have a taxonomy yet, or we are not going to use it. So it has to be a post, and this is related on the standard post types from WordPress. We're going to add in a field, and we make a label, and just use this character by the ID. This is fields. So when you're adding here a name, it will also be adding it in here, but make sure that you have a unique name and you don't use it elsewhere in the website to provide um, that things will be messed up. Then you can choose for an object type. In this case, it's a field, but as you can see, you can also choose for a tab, an accordion. We're gonna discuss that later on. And the fields type must be a media, sorry. And as you can see here, you can choose from different kind of things. A gallery is multiple photos and media is just one photo. But if you, for example, use what you see is what you get, and that is a text area where people can customize some things more than a text area. It's a little bit more advanced, but in this case we are going to use the photo and we choose for the file type media. Once you've done that, you can save it, and when we enter the posts and we gonna add a new post, then you can see nothing because we forgot something. We're going to return. We must say where it will be used. Um, it must be posts. I've made a mistake. I've chosen for user, and then when we go into all the posts and we're going to add a new one, still made a mistake. And this one is this one, sorry. It must be able for post type, so you must enable it and update it. And what I did was change it for the using settings, but it has to be that the meta box that we yet met, and it was photo. Sorry for the delay. And when we are again 10, then you can see here that you can choose also a photo. So for example, this one, and as you can see here, the photo is being added. And then you got the defaults title and the default contents, and then you can update it and it will be applied. We're not going to publish it yet. Well, let's just add a post. So dummy text, publish it. So now if we go into the post, we have added meta of a post meta. We have named it post meta. And if we going back to the meta boxes, what you see then is that you can exclude that particular post for having this particular meta fields. So when we exclude this one, we're gonna add post meta boxes, photo and excludes post meta, and we update it, and we're going back to the posts, and we're adding to post meta, then the photo is gone. So for this particular post, it's not edible with the photo that we've made. So now you understand a little bit the standard meta posts from WordPress. We're gonna see what we can do with the customizable post meta from custom content types of JetElements from crocoblock. What we are going to make, we are going to making a field where people can register, and once they've registered, then they can go to their accounts and add a new post. And let's use some dummy text. They can add in a photo. Well, let's see this one, and then they can add the post. I'll be going to the home page. Now it doesn't look that great, but it's all customizable. We're not going to do that in this tutorial. And as you can see, it has been added to the post. And once they go into the accounts and to my publications, then they can delete it or adding it. And as you can see, when they're adding it, the form is pre-filled. So they don't have to type everything once again. It's already pre-filled what they're previous filled in. So if they have to make a little change and they save it, home, then you see two posts of this kind. But later on, I'm going to show you that this one is automatically deleted. And when they're going to their accounts and they go into their publications and they're going to delete it, and then as you can see on the home page, it's gone. Now, what I'm also going to show you is that in the media, as you can see, all those photos are um, still standing here, even if they've deleted the post. Now, I'm gonna show you later on a little bit of code, a little bit of JavaScript that delete automatically the photos when they've deleted the post. But now we have to do it manually, so we are going to delete it permanently and apply it and OK. And let's also delete all the posts from now on and delete it, apply it, so we can start all over again from scratch. This is the custom post type, and this will make the front end submission form, and it will make a new post, a dynamic post, and in the dynamic post there will be all dynamic fields. Yeah, so this is the heading, and it has the object type fields. Remember when we were here in the meta boxes, it's basically the same. The only difference is that it just makes fields for our own meta, custom meta. So it's basically the same thing. You can choose here for the text, and then you can add a new fields and whatever you want. It's Dutch for gallery. And don't forget to add this character to prevent the website from confusing. It must be the same, and this must be a gallery. And once you have done that, then you can check the general settings. Actually, have to do that first. I'm so sorry. And as you can see that you have to give it a name. And when you doing that, then there will be a data table. JetElements will make a separate data table. Remember, it's only for the custom content types and not for the post types. They are similar. The only difference is that this separates data tables, so it makes it much easier to search something. And the type must be a post. And as you can see, you can also choose for other types related posts, but we are going to make a post type. And this is going to be the filed type, and you can't add in this when you didn't make a post, but you can do that later on when you have already made a post. Then you can choose for an icon, so the icon will be displayed here. As you can see, you can choose for desktop, so it will be adding here in the desktop. And the other things that you see here, the REST APIs to get posts or to send posts, to receive posts, we are going to discuss that later on. So once you have done that and you have made different kinds of fields that you need, then you can go to the admin columns and you can toggle on show in the admin columns what you want to show. So what it basically does is if you want to have one of those fields that you've made to be seen into the admin area, then you have to toggle it on. For example, the item of the author, you can toggle it on and you give it a prefix. So um, for what's name, then in the admin there will be standing name, so there's the prefix and then the name of the author, and the suffix is first the author and then whatever you put in here. And if you toggle on it's searchable, then in the admin area it will be searchable. So that makes, for example, sense when you're using datas, the dates and the time when something has been posted, then you can use this one. Actually, create dates is the standard for showing when the post is added. So let's toggle that on. And we are not going to discuss this one because then everything will be too complicated. If we have done that, then we are going to the post. That's the first thing we have to do, and we have to post something. So this is the heading, and this is what you see is what you get, what I told you. let's see, some dummy text. And this is the photo that we're going to use. And we're going to select this one. And once we have done that, then we can choose for a media. Let's use some photos for that. Media, and then when we're adding it, then we can see it also on the front end, except of the gallery, because we have to customize that. As you can see here, this is what we have submitted. Okay, once we have done that, we are going to get engine once again, and we are going to make the forms. So what you have to keep in mind is when you go into the custom post types, then you see here all those fields that you've made, and they all have an ID. So what you have to do, let me clear this, is copy all those IDs. So this ID from this field, and then you have here another ID. You have to copy this one, and so on. See all those IDs, you have to copy it. Then you go to the forms, and first thing you want to do is to make a form when somebody is posting a new form on the front end. We're all talking about the front end. So you have to use all those IDs to make fields, and you have to add it into the field. So I've made now another field for the gallery, and let's put it in here. Then we are going to use this little pencil, and it was a gallery, so we're going to choose here for gallery. Well, actually it's media. It doesn't have a gallery because I'm going to show you why. And then we are going to use the field name was gallery. I'm so sorry. Apply changes, always click on apply changes, otherwise it won't upload. And then on uploads, if you don't do that, it doesn't work. I have to return and go into the ID of the gallery. Let me see, it's here. So I have to copy this one, the gallery, copy it, and then go form. And we were at the new post, and then we see here the field name, and it must be a gallery. So now the name has the ID of gallery, and the label you can put in whatever you want, but this is what the people will see when they are seeing the form. So this will be added in the form. You can make it required, and if you want particular users to have access to it, then you can use this one. But in this case, we have to leave it blank because everybody can use this. The maximal allowed files to upload Now, if it's not a gallery, then you can leave it blank, then it will only upload one file. But in this case, let's say we want to able the people to upload 5 files, so we put in 5. Maximum size of MB, well, you can do hundreds, and that's because we are using short pixels, and that will compromise the photos automatically on the website. But when you don't have that, then just use 10 or something like that. Then don't use 1, because otherwise they can't upload nothing, because nothing is 1 MB. Always use 10. And then you can choose what kind of files they can upload. So I'm going to choose those 3, and it will be visible for all, and then apply the changes, and then upload. Now this one has a field post ID, and you can leave it as it is now, but now we are going to another field, because we want to use another field, and that is when somebody has posted something, they can add that post and make changes. So you have to make another field, and that is for edit posts. And what you have to do then is, when you click it over, you have to use hidden post ID and current post ID. And here you must choose for URL query variables, and leave this just the way it is. Otherwise, you get some conflicts. This is the area where we have those preset form fields variables. You remember when you want to edit the posts, and go into this account, and my publications, and you want to edit it, then it will be pre-filled. And that's exactly what this part of the form does. It must be custom content types, because we are using here the custom content types. But if we are using the post types, then it must be post. But with the custom content post types, it must be custom content type. And then it must be URL query variables, and with this particular post ID. As you can see here, with this particular post ID. Once you've done that, then you can see that you have to map the fields, and you have to choose for a single post ID. If you don't do that, then the things won't work. And for the other things, you can just use the IDs that you've pre-filled in the fields. So you see here the fields that we have made, and just adding them in here. And once you have done that, then you can see that there is here an update custom content type. Again, it's a custom content type. Yeah, it's a custom content type. And if you check here, and when you're using something else later on, then you can choose for that. But in this case, is the custom content type. and the content type is the heading, and the status is published. Now, the heading that we have made that as well. Huh? So, oh no, I'm sorry. This is the content type that we have made. So if we are going here, content types, mm, you see it in here. That is what is the content type. So we go back to that form, edit posts, and then you can see here that that is the content type. And then you have to do the same thing here. So this is what happens when the form will be submitted. So this is are the actions, and you can map the fields. So the first one must be single post ID, and then the the fields that you have made, you can choose them here, and you can embed it in here. Now this is for adding the form, single post ID. Apply changes, but when you go into the form and when somebody wants to adding a new post, then you can see what will happen when they submit a new post. This one we have to edit as well. When somebody adding a new post, um, you must also choose for insert custom post types, but in this type, in this case, the item ID will update the item. So this is the difference between both of them. But if we're going once again to the forms and to edit the post, and we are going to change this to something else, then it doesn't work. But if we are going to adding here what happens when the form will be edited, when the user edit the form and change things, and when we use item ID will update the item, then there won't be double posts. So if you can see here, when we are changing this, and let's change the text and save it, and we're going to the home page, then we can see that we have two um, posts. But when we're changing it in item ID will update the item, and we are going to apply the changes. Don't forget to apply the changes. Whatever you do, you have to apply the changes. And we update that, and we have to refresh the page. I don't know if it's going to work, because and we go into the accounts, and we go to the publications, and we're going adding it, and it's gallery level, whatever, doesn't matter at all, and we save it, and don't know if it's going to work. No, it doesn't go to work, because I have to refresh everything. But anyway, what it's used to do is update the post and not adding another post. So this is the different item updates. Okay, what you also can do is what happens after the submission is, for example, redirect to a particular page. And the customer, once they have edited the post or have inserted a new post, then they will be redirect to whatever you want. But of course, you can choose here on the table other kind of things. You can give let them go to active campaign or something like that, or call a webhook, all those kind of things. But we're not going to use it in here in this tutorial. All right. So once you have done that, then you have to make listings. Then you're going again to JetEngine and to listings. And what listings are, they basically are uh, loops, little kind of sections that you later on can use into the grids. I'm going to show you what I mean. So let's delete this one. Listing sorts must be, again, custom content types. And then the category must be, in my case, Meldingen. And we're going to use it with the Elementor template. And you can also use for Gutenberg, but we are going to use Elementor. Now, from content type, let's save this. Let's go a little bit back. It's, again, we're going to use this template of this listing. But the content type is this one. Yeah. So we are going back to the listings, and we're going to customize this listing. And this, you must make two listings. One for adding the posts, and one for the default grids that will appear here, for example, on the home page. So these are the default grids, and when they go into their accounts and to my publications, then you can see here that they have been added, deleted, or adding the post. So this is another listing. So we have to make two listings, once for the user and once for the visitor. This one is for the user. So let's make two columns, and we're going to embed, scrolling down, and as you can see here, this is from crocoblock from JetEngine, and this is the dynamic image. Once we embed it in here, then we're gonna decide what kind of photo it will be. It's a post, but not the post from the default WordPress environment, but from that custom type that we've made, and in this case, Meldingen. And as you can see here, then the photo will appear. Then we're going to choose for the fields, the dynamic fields, and these dynamic fields, we can copy it or duplicate it, sorry. And in the first one, we're going to choose for post terms user object data, and it's going to be the title of the custom type meldingen. And the contents is going to be, in my case, de omschrijving. And then you can publish it, but this is the a default grid, but we want to use it for the one who submitted the form and who wants to edit their own particular um, post. So they can edit it or delete it if they want. So we scroll down and we go to the dynamic link and we're going to put it in here and then duplicate it and then you go to the source. The first one is for deleting the posts. So delete current post link and then we can say here delete and here is add post and that is going to be the profile page and it's going to be at the post. And once you have done that, then you can publish it. Okay, so we have made two listings. And this is the listing for someone who has posted something on the website. And this is for the visitor. And when you adding that, then you can see that there is no link, dynamic link for deleting the post or adding the post because they are not allowed to adding or delete the post. Once we have done that, we are going to make templates. And as you can see here, we have add posts, edit the post, edit user, and another one that I have made, but that is in Dutch, and user posts. So this user post, um, we have to embed that listing grid that we have made. So what we are going to do, let me delete this one. We are going to the listing grids and choose the listing um, that we just have made. And as you can see here, then you see that the edit post, it's spelled wrong, but whatever. And delete post is adding it, edit. And then we have to choose for, let's say, one grid, or one column, sorry. Now, what's important though, is that you set up the uh, post queries. That's very important. You got to add a new post query, and in the select box, you're going to use post and author parameters. And when you have done that, then you're going to post by author, and then you got to choose for custom user. Once you have done that, you can update it. So what this will do is will allow only the current user for their post to edit it or to delete it, and other users can access to this area. So when somebody else posts something, only the posts that they have added to the website will appear in here. Once we have done that, then we go into the dashboard once again. And if you can see here, you can see add a post. And when you go into that template, then you can see the form for add the post. And this is the form that we have made from add the post. Yeah, so it's a new post. It's actually very simply once you understand how it works. And if we're going to see the other saved templates, then you can see edit user. We are not going to discuss this on this moment, but the two that are important for this tutorial is edit post and add the post. So once you've done that, then you're gonna go to the pages, and you're gonna decide where the listing grids will come with all the posts that everyone can see. So the standard listing grids. And I'm gonna delete this one as well. What you have to choose then is for listing grids, uh, this one, and then you've got to choose the listing grid that we have made, the loop. You can also call it loops. If you're using advanced custom fields, then and you have used it a lot, then you know that there are also plugins for loops. Um, I don't know dynamic content for Elementor. No, it's not dynamic content for Elementor. It's another plugin, but I don't remember it yet. But anyway, you have to choose for that loop or listing that you've made for that is only visible for the customers. And you don't have to fill in the post query, but yeah, that's the only thing that you have to do. Now later on, when we are going to make multiple listing grids, then we're going to decide what, where the particular listings will be appear. So when you make multiple taxonomies, for example, then you can use that. But we're not going to discuss this on this moment. Okay, once you have done that, you're going back to the dashboards, and you go to the profile builder, and what you see here is that you have to make an account page, and in this case the account page calls account page. So when we go into all the pages and we adding this with Elementor, then you can see here that this is the account page. And on the account page, we have a menu, and this menu is edit the profile menu.